Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a brewery that's in my neck of the woods. I've done a couple of beers from them before, and I've always considered them one of my favorite breweries within the northwest suburbs of Illinois. And today, we got an IPA from them that definitely caught my attention just because it's not definitely a flavor that I would expect with an IPA, even though there are hops that bring out flavors of melons and all that kind of stuff. I never thought I would see an IPA made with watermelon. So this is called the Gummytron Northeast India Pale Ale with watermelon. And Noon Whistle makes some really, really good stuff over there. They have two locations, I think, in Naperville and Lombard, I believe it is, in Illinois. And they're doing a lot of good stuff over there. They made a good name for themselves being distributed all around the kind of like the Chicagoland area, and they make really good beer. They don't really go too crazy when it comes to can art and all that kind of stuff. They just really like making good beer, and today I think this is gonna be another one. Making an IPA with watermelon is definitely something that's very, very interesting, just because there are hops out there that kind of bring off natural melon flavors. I know most of the time it's usually going to be within the realms of like a honeydew or maybe like a bitter melon. Sometimes you get like watermelon-y kind of flavors coming through, but when I see like melon flavors coming through, they're like the closer to the almost like the rind of the melon, where it's almost has like a little bit of sweetness but a little bit of bitterness as well. But with this one being made with actual watermelon, I'm kind of curious what kind of hops they used in this one to kind of balance out the, or like kind of work together with each other when it comes to getting flavors of melon. Maybe you'll get some notes of tropical fruit or anything other kind of fruitiness, maybe a little bit of citrus in there. So I'm really curious. It doesn't list on Untapped what hops they used or on the can itself, so I'm pretty damn curious to see what kind of hops they used in this one to kind of balance out using watermelon in there, because most likely what they did was they brewed your normal IPA, maybe use some hops in there that kind of bring off natural melon flavors to begin with. And then once they put it in the fermenter, let everything go, get the ABV going, and then they put it in the bright tank, they most likely added the watermelon puree into that during the bright tank kind of process while it's being carved, just so it could kind of get some nice watermelon flavor, of course, get some color going in there. So I'm pretty excited to see how this thing turns out. So let's crack this thing open and see what it's all about. If I didn't mention before, this guy comes in at a 7.2% ABV, which this is definitely in the realm of being sessionable in my opinion, just because that 7.5 mark is where I usually cut off a beer being sessionable. So you can probably have one or two of these and still be perfectly okay. But once you start going into like maybe the 3 or 4 of these, that's when you might need to start questioning your ability to drive and all that kind of stuff. But let's crack this thing open and see what we get on the nose. Definitely getting some hoppy note, just nice hoppiness come up front. A little bit of citrusiness. I'm definitely getting almost like some bitter melon kind of notes. Maybe a little bit of honeydew, citrus. Yeah, it smells delicious. It smells absolutely delicious. So I'm going to be drinking this out of my Whistle Punk glass this afternoon. And let's see how this thing pours. I'm expecting a nice red color. I want to say like a deep red kind of color, almost like a light kind of red. Maybe let's see if this thing's hazy at all. But let's pour it and see what we see. Oh yeah, look at that nice pillowy soft head coming out the top. Little bit of a red hue coming through this guy. Definitely has a nice amount of head on it. But look at that. That looks absolutely delicious in my opinion. That's just a tasty looking beer. Nice kind of almost like orangish reddish kind of hue to it, which is nice. Still getting a lot of those citrusy notes coming through. A little bit of bitter melon. Yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's give this guy a try and see what this thing's all about. So, cheers everybody. Happy Saturday. Had to get past the head a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. Definitely up front, you're getting more of the citrus. It's more on the to the middle and the back end is when you're starting to get the watermelon coming through. You're getting a nice sweetness from it. Almost getting similar, like maybe it's like almost getting like a candied kind of watermelon. Maybe they had some kind of concentrate to add like a candiness to it, or they could have used phantasm powder to put in there, because when it comes to making like a nice juicy IPA, phantasm powder, which if you don't know, is a powder derived from New Zealand grapes that they use to kind of make IPAs more juicy or making a beer juicier. So I wonder if they use phantasm powder in this one, because there's a very, very nice kind of juiciness to it. that's super refreshing. Definitely still getting the watermelon. Definitely still getting those almost like more hoppier flavors when it comes to maybe a little bit of citrus, a little bit of bitter melon, a little bit of tropical fruit. Yeah, this is a phenomenal IPA. This is definitely something I would recommend for like a nice summer day, for sure. Just because it's refreshing and it just hits all the notes of like, it's warm out. Let's drink something that's going to definitely kind of quench your thirst in situations like that. But let's look over here at Untapped. And what we like to do is we like to see what Untapped shows as similar beers to this one. Just because if you can't get your hands on this one, you may be able to find something on Untapped that may give you similar profiles and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, this one's weird because on this Untapped page, when it's showing the similar beers, they're showing beers from other countries, and it looks like some homebrew stuff too as well. I'm not sure if these are actually breweries or. Let's see, this one's from Nave, which I have no idea. This is okay, so it's a brew pub in Brazil. So I'm not going to go with any of these ones showing up here just because most likely nobody that's going to be watching this right now is going to be able to get their hands on something that's similar like this when it comes to off the similar beers list. So something that I can recommend when it comes to kind of having something that it's going to be different because, of course, the watermelon's going to add that distinct flavor. I never really see IPAs that add watermelon to it. So finding one that's going to be exactly similar to this might be a little bit difficult. Of course, if you're looking, there's a bunch of beers out there. I've seen some like watermelon gozes, which they're not going to be hoppier. Those are going to be a little more tart. But when it comes to trying to find something that's similar to this, if you're kind of a beer geek like I am and all that kind of stuff, and you want to see if you can kind of test your flavor palette a little bit before you get your hands on it, kind of look and see what kind of hops it has, and kind of look at those hops if it shows it on the can and everything like that, if those bring off flavors of melon, because sometimes there are different hops out there that give flavor characteristics of melon and watermelon, all that stuff. I'll name a few examples right here to where you can kind of, if you kind of remember this stuff and then go to your local liquor store and see something that may give or may have that kind of hop in there, you may be able to get similar profiles, even though they're going to be kind of blended in with a bunch of other different stuff. It could be citrus, stone fruit, tropical fruit, all that kind of stuff. So let's look here and see what hops brings off a little bit of watermelony flavors that you can keep an eye on for. So we got one here called the Bitter Gold hops, which brings off stone fruity flavors, tropical fruit, pear, watermelon, a little bit of grassiness, and some floral citrusiness going through. What else do we got here? El Dorado. El Dorado is definitely used in a lot of IPAs, so you may be able to find some melony kind of flavors in that. Of course, I'm wondering if they used El Dorado hops in this one, because there's the watermelon flavor I'm getting, but there's also El Dorado does add a little bit of like candy kind of fruit flavor in there. So I'm wondering if that's something they used. I don't want to say I'm 100% sure they used El Dorado hops in this, but I'm kind of putting my nose that they did. What else we got here? We got Emerald Spire that gives flavors of watermelon. Evergreen Blend. What else? So you got some that may be bringing off honeydew flavors to kind of add that just little extra element of honeyness. When it comes to the melon flavor, maybe adding a little bit of bitterness. You have the Huel Melon hops. What else? Let's see. I know there's a couple more. What else do we got? No, it doesn't look like. Okay, so looks like that was it, but kind of keep that in mind, of course. So if you're looking for something that's going to bring off melon flavors, or maybe like a watermelon kind of flavor, my first recommendation would to kind of look for an IPA that has El Dorado hops in there. I think if it's a more predominant when it comes to El Dorado hops, you may have a close kind of second without adding the watermelon puree into it when it's in the bright tank. So that would be my biggest recommendation. Go to your local liquor store or bottle shop and see if you can find an IPA with El Dorado hops. I think that may be a close second, even though, like I said before, it's going to have different flavors coming through it when it comes to the different flavors that the hops produce, or possibly the other hops in there that kind of bring off different flavors as well. So just got to keep that in mind. But overall, this beer is absolutely fantastic, and I'm really, really enjoying the nice kind of refreshing kind of flavor that's coming from this one. So let's look back here on Untapped, and let's read the description of this guy and see what Noon Whistle describes this one as, because it's usually the description of the beer usually comes from the brewery themselves. So this one says, it's a Northeast IPA with a refreshing blast of juicy watermelon and a clean yet hoppy finish that's sure to leave you in a delightful summer haze. Yes, 100% agree that that's kind of what sums up your experience with this beer. Unfortunately, I don't think this one's available. It's not being brewed by the brewery right now. I know that they might be coming back with it pretty soon, but let's see stuff that's coming soon, new releases. They have a couple other stuff that's coming soon when it comes to new stuff, so keep an eye out for those. But there's a good chance that they're going to be releasing other kind of IPAs where it could use Eldorado hops. It could be bring up this one back. So you just if you're in the area and want to try stuff from Noon Whistle, they're always coming out with new stuff. So just keep an eye out on their website, on their social media. They'll let you know what's coming through. Once it starts getting into the summer, that's when they start bringing back a lot of their gummy IPAs. Of course, their gummy line, when it comes to all the different IPAs that have that gummy name to it, are usually really, really phenomenal, really juicy, really kind of nice, hazy, vibrant, just absolutely delicious IPAs. So I would highly recommend, if you're in the Chicagoland area and if you haven't had anything from Noon Whistle yet, I would highly recommend it, especially if you're an IPA fan and you like very, very juicy IPAs. You're going to want to lean towards that gummy kind of line of IPAs that they come out with. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like this one's available. Let me check here, see. Let me see, gummy beers. Gummytron. Okay, yep, so Gummytron isn't really out right now, but that's fine. You just got to keep an eye on and see what you can find from them. But if you want to go on Noon Whistle's website, they have a bunch of other stuff available on there when it comes to shirts. A bunch, you got shirts, a bunch of clothing stuff. Let's see. So you can get beer, you can do pickups if you want. So you can kind of do it curbside pick. I don't want to say if it's curbside pickup, but you can pick up an order if you want to just do that. But they have a bunch of beers available right now for canning. Plus they have shirts, button-up shirts, hoodies. What else? They got your hats, your average dad hats, some glassware. They got some goblet-style tulips, regular kind of, a bunch of different kind of style of stemmed glasses. Plus they have the stemless ones, and then they have, of course, your canned glasses and your Pilsner glasses and all that kind of stuff. So they make a lot of cool stuff over there. So even if you're not a fan of beer, I'd highly recommend kind of looking at Noon Whistle's website and kind of see, maybe you have a family member that likes some cool stuff, because they have a bunch of really kind of just interesting stuff over there. They make their own hot sauce too, which I think is really, really cool. So they play around with different kind of avenues when it comes to things that they can sell, and then they can throw the Noon Whistle name on. So that's really, really cool. But back to Untapped here, and like I said before, it's a 7.2% ABV, so I already said that I consider this very, very sessionable. I wouldn't say very sessionable. After a couple of these, you're definitely going to be feeling it. But it's still something that you can enjoy a few of them and most likely be fine. And with over 1,908 ratings on this one, this has an average rating of 3.9 out of 5, which is pretty good. I would say this is pretty good. This is definitely something that I feel like if you're not a fan of watermelon, you're not going to be a fan of this one, just because the watermelon flavor in this is enough predominant in the actual beer itself to where it's there, but it's not going to be the amount of watermelon to where it's oh, I can't do this. It's not too overpoweringly watermelon in flavor, but I think with all the hops they use in there, they're bringing off the kind of elevating that watermelon flavor, maybe having some hops in there that adds little flavors of lime, because I know lime and watermelon usually go really good together. It kind of pushes up that watermelon flavor. So yeah, I think they did a fantastic job. Let's look here at the ratings. Of course, we got a couple of people on my friends list who checked this one in. This guy checked my dude Jeremy. He checked this in back in July. Okay, so this back when they released this around a couple of years ago. So it's been a minute since he drank this one, but he purchased it at the Binny's Beverage Depot, which is, of course, a big kind of liquor store chain when it comes to the northwest suburbs of Illinois, and he gave it a 4 out of 5. So next one we got the winner of last month's Patreon giveaway, Mr. Kevin K. Checked this one in, I believe. He checked it in today, but he drank it yesterday or something, or a couple days ago. Hold on, my dog's snoring. Hey, stop snoring your face off back there. Jesus Christ. I can just hear snoring in my ear. But What the hell you purchased off Tavor? You didn't get this from Tavor, Kevin. What are you talking about? Hey, whatever. If you want to get the extra badge for it, no, it doesn't bother me any. But yeah, this was one of the beers I sent out for last month's 4-pack giveaway that I do, and he gave it a 4 out of 5 and said quite tasty with a subtle watermelon addition, tasty hop profile as well. Yep, definitely agree with you there, Kevin. But let's look back here at the global ratings and see what we have people saying right here. So this guy gave it a 3.75, purchased at the Fat Duck Tavern and Grill, which is in Forest Park, Illinois. So he I guess they have it on tap over there. Let's see what else we got. We got a 3.75 here. What else? We got another 3.75 saying watermelon IPA purchased at Noon Whistle Brewing in their Lombard location. We got a 4.25 here. Looks like they drank it at the Neighborhood Inn, which is in Hoffman Estates. Another Neighborhood Inn check-in, give it a 4.25. We got a 4 out of 5 here. That person drank it at home. We got a 2.75 here, purchased at Friar Tuck, which is a convenience store / liquor store in Edwardsville, Illinois. Let's see, we got another 4. Let's see, we got a 3 saying delectable, I love beer, man. And then okay, so we checked it in twice. Oh, 3 times in a row. Jesus Christ. So this guy had a couple of these. So, same guy, gave it so at first, his first check-in was a 3.25, purchased at Uncork It, which is in Chicago, a liquor store there. And he said essentially a green zebra, but not as sessionable. He gave it a 3.25 there, and then he checked it in. The next day, saying tasted more spritzery this time around, and then gave it a 3 at his most previous check-in, saying delectable, I love beer. So yeah, he got some 3 check-ins in a row with that one. Well, let's see. Let's do like 3 more from this one. Let's see. We got a guy that purchased at Woodman's, which I wonder. Okay, this is in the Buffalo Grove location. Woodman's has a really, really good liquor section if you have never been over there, if you're in the Chicagoland area. He gave it a 3.75. Let's do 2 more. This person gave it a 3.5, and the final one we're gonna look at here, this person gave it a 4.5. So yeah, definitely, I want to say it's a little bit all over there when it comes to. It's a little bit all over the place when it comes to how people checked it in, but there's still some pretty good check-ins. Some people gave it a little bit lower. Maybe they're not into watermelon. Who knows? Maybe they'll not be IPA people. But overall, some pretty decent check-ins with this one. I would definitely say this is pretty around the board, a pretty decent average when it comes to how many people have checked it in and all that kind of stuff. So, with all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing on our end over here with this guy, with our ratings. So, I think I poured the rest of it into the glass already. Let me take one more sip because it's delicious. And the first thing we like to look at is, of course, can art. And you guys know by now, Noon Whistle doesn't really go out of their way to make really, really intricate can art. They kind of stick to like a same kind of style when it comes to having like a 2-tone, like a color on the top, holographic, kind of like silver on the bottom, and then, so of course you got the green and the silver. They put watermelons slices in there, which is a nice little touch. And of course they always have the name of the beer in the middle, ABV on the bottom, and then Noon Whistle on the top. And of course you got the Noon Whistle logo, which is always, I think, is really, really clean. So when it comes to Noon Whistle's marketing on their labels and all that kind of stuff, I don't want to say it's nothing that is really impressive, to be honest, but I feel like they take advantage of letting their beer kind of speak for itself. So when it comes to quality, I always put Noon Whistle as one of the top ones when it comes to the breweries in the state. So they're trying to give you the best quality product they can. They usually are doing that. So can art for this one, it's not really something that speaks home to me. But when I saw the watermelon on there, it definitely caught my attention because I rarely see IPAs brewed with watermelon in there. So that's what kind of drove me towards it. It wasn't the can art or anything like that. So with can art, I'll give this a 3 out of 5. Nothing really too crazy going on with it. Of course, it's the Noon Whistle kind of token can art. So it's something, when I see something looking like that, when the 2-tone silver and whatever color I decide to choose, I know it's from Noon Whistle, and I know it's probably likely going to be a pretty damn good beer. So let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight over at Noon Whistle, which I could have done probably maybe a month or two ago, or until they brew it again, would I get another one of these? Absolutely. I'm a really, really big fan of the nice balance between the watermelon flavor and the other hop flavors coming in. A little bit of citrus, a little bit of tropical fruit, kind of making everything a lot more vibrant. A little bit of just, it's very, very well balanced. It's not too overpowering in any kind of aspect. It's not too much watermelon, not too much hoppiness from other flavors of it to where you can't get the watermelon. I think they just hit it right on the head when it comes to a perfectly balanced watermelon IPA. So Noon Whistle did an outstanding job with this guy. So I think with that being said, I think my final rating on this guy, I'm going to give it a solid 8.7. Actually, no, 8.5 out of 10 for this one, I think is where I'm going to leave this one. Absolutely delicious. If you're able to get your hands on this one, if you're in the Chicagoland area whenever it comes out again, I know there might be some cans and stuff straggling around liquor stores and bottle shops within the Chicagoland area. Maybe they just haven't sold it, so they might have some still sitting in the coolers. But if you see it in the cooler, I highly recommend picking it up. If you're a fan of watermelon, if you're a fan of a nice, vibrant IPA, and really, really refreshing, I think this would be something you really, really enjoy. So, yeah, just check around the Chicagoland area. If you're within my neck of the woods and you want to try this one out, highly recommend it if you can find it. But otherwise, you might just have to wait until they release it again. Who knows when they will do it? But I feel like this one will be coming back pretty soon. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live to another review. Plus, you can follow me on all my other kind of platforms that I have available. When it comes to my Instagram, you'll see what I'm be reviewing that day. Of course, you'll see other shenanigans that's going on at the brewery with me brewing and doing other stuff there. But you can also shoot me a friend request on Untapped. You guys hear me talk about Untapped all the time. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers. It's you check in beers, you get badges, you can see what your friends are drinking, see what people are drinking all around the world. It's a really, really fun platform. So link to my profile on Untapped is down in the description below. Shoot me a friend request. I would love to see what you guys are drinking. But last but not least, if you want to support me when it comes to a little bit more than just liking my videos and following me on any kind of social media, there is a Patreon available for you to join. If anybody wants to kind of help me out a little bit when it comes to making content and getting more content out for you guys. Plus, you have the opportunity to win my monthly 4-pack giveaway that I do of exclusively Illinois craft beer. I know I just posted on the Patreon yesterday of the beers that are going to be available this month. So we're getting towards the end of May, so I let people know what their chances of winning, like the 4 beers that they have the chance to win. This month, I'll probably be doing an Instagram post either today or tomorrow to kind of see if anybody else wants to join. Maybe they see something on there that they want to pick up, so they'll join for that. But, yeah, if you want to support me through Patreon, I'm not going to pressure anybody to do it, but it would be absolutely a fantastic thing if you did. It helps me out a lot. But I think that is pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. And I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.